So I'll say this, I don't care how you slice it, the black level performance of the Sony X90J compared to the Sony X900E is not exactly going to be the best you've ever seen. So I wanted to show you this logo because on loading screens, it is going to exhibit a problem if you start maxing out your brightness. Now, I wanted to do this in real time and get my remote, as you guys can clearly see here, and show you guys that when you go into the brightness tab on the Sony X90J and you basically start lowering your brightness, let's see how long it will take before the clouding and stuff goes away. Let's see just how much brightness you'd have to sacrifice. That's quite a lot already. Most people won't be comfortable with those numbers. For me, like on my end, I'm lowering it down. I think going from the default, lowering it down to where you don't have any, you're really in the 20s. To completely eliminate it, I would say you'd have to be somewhere around 5 to 7. That 5 being like the sweet spot if you really don't want any kind of black level issues, as you are seeing here. So the usable brightness on the Sony X90J is basically non-existent because you run into some light problems, some light uniformity problems on your black levels. Now Sony's default is 35, but as you see, there's a lot of hazing. I'm sitting directly in front of both, and I'm sitting in front of my Sony X900E as well. And before anybody tries to say that I'm making the Sony X900E look better on purpose, I'm going to show you I'm not in clearness, which improves the black level performance. So if I go into clearness and I select that and I go up 1, the black levels get even deeper. So, I mean, depending on how much brightness I'm willing to throw away on the Sony X900E, black levels can get incredible, but clearness 1 really did the trick, as you see by comparison. And so that's just as real as it gets. Now, you're seeing some haze be introduced back because now I have this menu up and hovering over it. But essentially, when it goes away, you won't see any of that stuff at all. Another important distinction I also wanted to make, because people will try to claim it, is that I lowered my backlight, which again, brightness is my backlight. It's not low at all. You are seeing it literally like right here without any issue. And to be extra dramatic, I made sure to show you the extended dynamic range as well, which is also set to high on the Sony X900E. So as you're clearly seeing, it's just better at black uniformity in some scenes. Now, that doesn't mean it's roses and sunshine for all of them, because the sunshine turns to rain real quick when you start getting to subtitles like this in the middle of your screen. As you are clearly seeing, the Sony X900E is no longer as uniform as it was a second ago. But again, compared to the Sony X98, or rather the Sony X90J, so stupid these names, it's definitely not looking as bad for the brightness and stuff like that. So that's something that you might want to think about. Now, something that makes me incredibly happy is that the local dimming algorithm is fairly capable when it gets to particles of dimming down. So unlike what I found even with like Hisense when I was doing this test for them, it doesn't just try to find the brightest highlight on the screen and overly brighten it. There is an intelligent process happening here. So I do think we have to give Sony some sort of credit, even though they do have some, uniformity issues to speak of. Now, sadly, when you start getting to brighter scenes, even in video games where there's like kind of like a text box, and it's like kind of exactly like what you see here, it's going to struggle a bit with producing those deep black levels, and you're going to get some hazing, as you're clearly seeing here, versus the Sony X900E to the right that doesn't really have as much of that. And again, I'm showing this off because the Sony X900E is from 2017, and Sony really needs to start delivering better black levels than this. It's about time, because there's no reason we can't have awesome Sony TVs on this level again, and I haven't seen it in a very long time, and I'm pretty salty about it, frankly, and I think that it needs to change, and the only way it changes is by highlighting that Sony doesn't have it as good as they think they do. They're a little too arrogant these days, charging these kinds of prices, and then still giving us worse performance year after year. No other YouTuber talks about this, no other reviewer talks about this, because there's more money in affiliate links to attaching, products for you to buy, but I mean, that doesn't help us. That's literally the most anti-consumer thing you can do, because here we are again for another year in a row with subpar goods from Sony. I really want them to get their act together, so I'm putting this out there. Hopefully some of you will join me in calling out where they need to fix, what they need to fix. I can even hit this little pop-up here so you guys can see. It's real time. This is very real. I'm not making the 900H or the 900J look any worse. It just is what it is. As you can see, there's still more hazing around Kirito's head on the 900J than you have on the Sony X900E. It's not supposed to happen like that, and the hazing is quite real when you go back. So even at the same exact ISO, you're seeing there's definitely a big problem here. So I wanted to show this off. Maybe it can get a patch going for those people who end up buying this TV. I want to thank you guys so much for watching the #1 brand in honesty and being a part of the channel. But essentially for the black levels, not the best I've ever seen. They can be stronger than the 900E at some times and some points, but it really is a pick and choose kind of thing. And honestly, I think they do have a way to go.